All right, everyone. Here it is. It's Thursday. Today's the day. It's from the margins with my great friend James Auffant. Jimmy Auffant is a Central Florida attorney extraordinaire. He is a Democratic politico, a liberal. He's a grandfather, a father, and a husband, and he's awesome. My mentor, my friend, Jimmy Auffant. How are you today, Jimmy?
It's great to be Thursday. It's the end of the week for me because the office on Friday, all we do is catch up. We don't see public, and I don't have any hearings until next Thursday. So I am good to go. So, yes.
Excellent. Let's jump right into it. This is the State of the Union reaction from Jimmy. Here we go.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay, Jimmy, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, let's start from the beginning. Donald, you should be ashamed of yourself. And let me say why. First of all, you're lying. If there's a federal warrant for a drug lord, if there's a federal warrant for any person who has committed a crime in the United States, no local politician legally has the authority to stop that from being removed from the city. Sanctuary city means, since you don't know it because you're delusional, it basically says we're not going to be prosecuting these people. What we're going to be doing is, if they commit a crime, then we will, and immigration comes here and puts a hold on them. We will put a hold. We will. They will remain here until you remove it. That is a sanctuary city. It's not that, like here in the state of Florida, that the police is supposed to be out there looking for illegal immigrants when that is a federal issue. Second, that's a cheap shot of saying, hey, if you agree this is the number one thing you should be doing, where you fucked it up, Major League, that's not the number one. The number one thing that the U.S. Congress should be doing is protecting all citizens of the United States from attacks from abroad, from illegal corrupted officials, and from his own government. Period. Illegal aliens are not protected by law. You know that. And the function of protecting citizens from any crime falls on every local offense. And since you insist on lying, I will catch you in the line in a little while and bring it up to you so you can be ashamed of yourself.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy. Let's go to the next clip.
My fellow Americans, our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. Incomes.
What's your thought on that, real quick, Jimmy?
I did not know that our country had been gone. Let's start by this. I don't know it had been gone, or that we were in poverty, or that the economy was ever bad. Depends which axis of what I call misinformation out there you want to go on. The inflation, when in 2024, after, for the record, after the pandemic, after they submitted checks to everybody with the approval of both parties, by the way, by the approvals of both parties, including some of the legislation signed by him in 2020 before he left, it says very created an inflation. It did. But it was a combination of both administrations. When Biden left, it was in 2.8. And according to the same source, this is where they play games with you. Be very careful. The source of the 2.8, they will then go running to another source and say, no, it's lower. No. If you're going to compare, you have to use the same source for both. Right now it's 2.4. 4 points. Is this country richer? No. But you know who's richer? Donald J. Trump. By the way, I'm going to start today changing. Taco does not mean Trump, again, chicken out. You people are wrong. He's never chicken out. It is Donald Trump cashed out. What happened? He put a tariff. That company came and donated to him some money, and he took off the tariff. The tariff has never been to build factories. Bullshit. Tariffs have been to build his resources. So he's right. He is very right when he says that this country is solid. It has ever been solid. Economically, it's been solid. But let's talk about the real thing that he's going to mention in a few minutes: affordability. There is no place in this country that has gasoline at $1.85, and that's according to AAA, who does the surveys and is not Republican and is not a Democrat. We all have our little AAA cars in our pockets for our emergencies. They do a thing of the gas price, and the cheapest at the time of the speech was $2.49. The average was $2.99. So with all due respect, he lives in La La Land. Does he go and put gas in the tank? No, he doesn't. Does he go and do food shopping? No, he doesn't. But your eyes will tell you that ground beef right now is $10 a pound. And in 2024, it was $8. It's a $2 increase. It's still expensive both ways, I would agree. But let's stop pretending that everything is fine in this country. And by the way, Donald, that was the same fuck up that Biden did in 2022.
Oh, wow.
Say that the economy was okay when everybody realized that was not true. We all know that to say that the economy of this country is good he used the stock market. If you go in that survey, he used the stock market. Average Joe does not depend on the stock market. The seniors and the 401ks may, and that doesn't mean that they're making more money. The sales in the stock market doesn't mean that people are making money. Those numbers are sales and purchases, okay? Not that the stock is increased in value. That's the other bullshit that both parties put out. Oh, the stock market. Sure, they're selling products. Does that mean that the products are worth more money? No. So is the economy good today? I'll let you use your eyes and I'll let you use your ears. I will let you go buy gas. I will let you go buy food. And if you feel that it is, fine. But there's a part of the economy that nobody's discussing. Strangely, Bank of America made a study. And if you make less than $50,000, your average salary has gone up 0.92. That's less than 1%. And if you make up to 150, it's 2.4. That does not cover inflation either way, neither the Republican one nor the Democratic inflation. It doesn't cover it. So what I'm trying to say to everybody is, he might say that it is. And that's what Biden did in 2022. And by the way, everybody in the Republican MAGA side said, are you crazy? Things are not that great. He also called that affordability is a Democratic word. No, affordability is something that always is existed, and things are becoming unaffordable. And we all know that. So he can say it, but it doesn't make it true. And let's be honest, even you people who are MAGA, you know that he lies a lot. You know, his credibility is not that high. So when he says that the economy is good, go shopping and you tell me if he's right.
All right, Jimmy. Let's go to the next clip.
Are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. and our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked, and America is respected again, perhaps like never before. In the past 9 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States. But we will always allow people to come in legally, people that will love our country and will work hard to maintain our country. As I say tonight,
So your thoughts on that, Jimmy?
You know, that's kind of stupid. And this is what I like when you play with words. An illegal alien would be somebody who walked through the border and did not submit his paperwork. Obviously, they never do. And they still are doing it, for the record. For those of you who think that the borders, somebody's coming through, you need to buy some other stuff, because people are still crossing the borders south and north. For the record, we tend to forget the one in the north, but we have one in the north. And some people just arrive via U.S. airports with a tourist visa, which has been a problem that we've had for years. And after the 6 months, they stay here and never go back, and that makes them illegal. Okay, those are still coming in. But under no administration has there ever been admitted, I'm using his own vernacular, admitted somebody illegally. If you come in and you claim that you're being prosecuted, that you are afraid of gangs in El Salvador, you're afraid of gangs in Guatemala, that you're afraid of Maduro in Venezuela, and you put that as a reason to come in, you're being admitted legally. You're not being admitted illegally. You're admitted legally. Okay, that's what you call a legal admission. Now that later you're going to go and prove your case in front of a judge, and that judge make a decision, that is correct. But you're still here legally. If you have a date for a hearing in front of a judge, that means is that you submitted your paperwork to request that hearing. So you're here again legally. Those who are illegal fall in 3 categories. For those of you who do not understand, those who come here to Disney to have a good time, they have a 6-month visa, a tourist visa, and they're here 6 years later. Their visa expired, they're here illegally. Those who go through the frontier, either from Canada or from, Mexico, those are here illegally. Those who get off on a boat, either in Florida and in California, and just enter here because they're going to spend some time getting off the boat and purchasing some stuff for 3 or 4 days and never get back on the boat, those here are illegally. Those are the 3 types. But to say that there hasn't been an admitted and illegal, of course not. There never was. If you admit somebody, they're here legally. So if he's trying to say that there's no people entering this country illegally, no.
How do the Democrats embrace this nuance that you just explained, and get those who are on the undecided or on the peripheral of this issue as far as voters, and get them to understand the nuance that you just explained in that 30-second, 2-minute conversation at the door that a candidate will have with a potential voter?
2 ways. One, Donald Trump, lies. If you want to trust him, then if you're going to say you trust him unconditionally, you're lost. I cannot get you. One, basically, to say that the only people who work hard are the white people who come from South Africa, and that the Mexicans who are cutting your grass, the Mexicans who are cooking your food, the Mexicans who are washing your dishes, the Mexicans who are helping at the farm for the milk that your son and daughter are drinking, that's one thing. The other thing is you have to stop buying this bullshit that your problems are created by illegals, that there's no jobs for you because of illegals. The truth of the matter is your money is going to the rich and the powerful. The money is being made from the rich and the powerful. Your problem is up, it's not forward. Do you really want to do dishwasher work? Go for it. Do you really want to work in the yard? Go for it. Do you really want the jobs that they're doing? Nobody's stopping you. You just don't want to. As a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting, but I had a very rich Republican person here tell me once these words that we found is, I own a farm. I can't find a white or black person, American, who's willing to pick up my fruit. But I find Mexicans. You know, that's the way. And at the same time, it's not the huge problem that we want, that they try to make it out. If you kick out all the illegals from this country, are you going to tell me that factories are going to open? No. Are you going to tell me that the economy is going to get any better? No. Because I have to work for what I get. And if they're not here, I still have to work. So it's a matter of communicating. It's also a matter of trying to convince the people how much this guy lies and how much your party relies on lies and how corrupt they are. You see, that's when I said cruel and corrupt. That's an issue that I think the Democrats should be talking. Bitcoins that they're buying from him. Right now, he sold a pardon for the governor of Puerto Rico and for a Venezuelan banker for $4 million. And there's evidence of it. The sister of the banker donated $4 million the week before he signed the pardon. Oh, coincidence? Bullshit.
Right. Jimmy, I'm going to throw you a curveball here, and I want your opinion. It goes along with what you're saying and how Democrats should speak to this. I found this very interesting. So let me make sure I got this queued up and ready to go. Okay. Let's hope that you see that. And let's make sure. Let's get it in. Okay.
And stand up and show your support. First duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Okay, Jimmy, your thoughts on that?
Well, let's start off with the beginning. Democrats have deported more illegal aliens than all the Republican presidents put together in the modern era. So that's a fact. Those are numbers. So that is true. Look, the way he presented it and the way that everybody said, we don't want criminals here. The problem here is that who's bringing the criminals into this country is the people that you defend. I'm going to ask you one question to everybody. How many U.S. white citizens who employ in vast numbers illegal aliens have been prosecuted in this country? The numbers could astound you. If you hear Clinton, he said, and we're going to go after those who employ them. Bullshit. Neither Republicans nor Democrats have ever gone against it. But let's say this: during the first term of Trump, they went into a Tyson factory, chicken factory. They removed 200 people who could not produce papers. That's a fact of life. What fine did Tyson pay? How many of the Tyson executives went to jail? By the way, for those of you who wonder about identity theft is kind of interesting because according to when they did that with Tyson and they started to remove the payroll thing, 80% of those people had white people's name, John Smith, David Johnson, and stuff like that. And what happened? They had open accounts in the local bank nearby, and there's where they had it. Or, more interesting, some of these companies put it on a debit card. They know they're hiring illegals. They don't care about it. And why are they doing it? Because these people are taking the jobs that you don't want. Simple as that. That you don't want. So, my concern, and I'm going to ask you this question, David. I'm going to go the reverse. How many people who have hired these illegals has ICE arrested and prosecuted in the last year?
Oh, wow. Jimmy, I can pretty much tell you the answer is 0 that I am aware of, because that's the number that I've been waiting to hear. Yes, they raided a Nebraska meat packing factory. As a matter of fact, I forgot what town it was, but it was the major employer in Nebraska. Nearly shut down the place. And so, I mean, I don't see the owners of Tyson being hauled into, the local jail cell. I don't see anyone from Nebraska. I haven't heard of any fines or anything like that. So my recollection is 0. And I want to hear about those cases.
And this is the problem. Oh, they're here taking away our jobs. Well, yeah. And the people giving them the jobs know there's no consequences for their actions.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to deport you for working in a factory, but the people who hired you, who know you cannot speak English, have interpreters for you, have supervisors that speak Spanish for you, and who know that most of the money you're sending back to Mexico to your family, they don't get prosecuted. And look, it's a joke. If you don't hire them, they go back.
Yeah.
If you don't hire them, they go back. Okay? They're not opening businesses here. They're not operating. No. Are they criminals? Look, according to one thing that I never fascinated, a study of criminology says that 12% of the human population will be career criminals.
Mm-hmm.
That's a given. White, black, Asian, whatever nationality will be criminals. Is there a mafia in Italy? Yes. Is there one in Russia? Yes. Is there one in Japan? Yes. And we can keep going back. So when people try to pretend that there's criminals that yes, but we'll be talking about criminals and the liar, Donald Trump, in a few minutes, because that one is not going to escape him.
All right. Let's go to the next one, Jimmy.
Okay.
As I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong. You're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in. They beat a fantastic Canadian team in overtime, as everybody saw, as did the American women who will soon be coming to the White House. That I will soon.
All right, Jimmy, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the thought is that both parties stood up, applauded them. We should be proud of them. It is a great victory. But this is a thought that you probably will surprise you. That's a cheap shot on his part of using this to get a good publicity. Look, those of us who study public relations and those of us who study politics would say, do this so you could get the good favor of the country. Just like he lied about, this is another lie. When you get a Purple Heart, those of us who if you want the uniform can tell you, once you get the Purple Heart, you get it once you are wounded. Okay. You don't get it 4.5 months later. He already had that Purple Heart. It was just more of an exhibition. Bringing a guy 100 years old and say, hey, I'm going to give you a Congressional Medal of Honor now. He could have done that in the White House. He did not have to do that during the ceremony. This is cheap use of people to get publicity.
But Jimmy, isn't it an awesome patriotic moment? I mean, that hockey game, I did not watch it, but I did watch the part where the goalie did defend that shot on goal. It was masterful.
Look, it is wonderful, it's masterful, and it's all that. And let me ask you this. I'm going to go the reverse. If Joe Biden had done that, would the Republicans be saying, hey, that's a cheap shot? As a matter of fact, they wouldn't even call him Biden. They would call him Brandon, by the way, which was their nickname for him. So when we talk about respect, the Republicans never had any respect for Biden either. But yeah, the game was awesome. I enjoyed the scene on TV. What I have a problem is, hey, the only person who feels proud about this is me. And I'm the one who's going to look, every team who's won the World Series, every team who's won the Super Bowl goes to the White House and gets congratulated. And that's the way it should be. And they should have been gone to the White House and leave it at that. Using that during this is more of a publicity stunt. And I'm sorry. I'm proud of them, but I think it's disrespectful to them to use it as a publicity stunt. That's me. But I know I might be in the minority about that one.
Right. I just think when you have Congress together, you have America together watching this State of the Union, you have this moment to show unity around, an event, a team, a victory that unites, that's so patriotic. And yes, you and I know about propaganda and all that stuff. It was masterful. I was with my brother and good friend when we saw that the U.S. team win, and it was an awesome moment. I followed Chicago Blackhawks hockey, but not necessarily Olympic hockey. But it was a good moment, and I enjoyed it. And you're right, Jimmy. It is propaganda.
Okay, and I'll leave it at that. Look, but I want to push back on one thing. Congress was there, correct. The president was there, you're correct. How much of the U.S. public is seeing the State of the Union? It's less than 10% of the whole population. Guess what?
You're right,
So,
Jamie.
when you say the country, I wouldn't say the country.
I know.
And the numbers are out, and I'm, not me. The numbers out. You've seen them, and that's less than 10% of the whole population because the country realizes this is a show. This is not the truth of the matter. It's just like what he said. The State of the Union is strong. Every president says that. I mean, that's not like I've been sitting there saying we're fucked up. We're really bad. I've never heard. So it in that aspect, but bringing them there, it was a stunt, and the other ones bother me, and there's one major one that bothers me.
Well, let's find it and let's get to it. Let's go to the next clip here.
Soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12. It's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He's powerful, country saving. It's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in. Peace protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them with that. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love. Now the same.
All right, Jimmy, what do you think of that, the tariffs?
Okay, that's not what the other lie he said in that. Tariffs are not paid by foreign countries. Tariffs are not paid by foreign countries. When the product comes in, the importer, in order to remove it and bring it into the country, pays the tariffs. The importer, who brings in the products and now costs him $2 more per unit, passes that $2 to you and me. The Cato Institute was not a Democratic institute, who is not a friend of the Democratic Party, who's a very right-wing, Republican, conservative organization, says that the tariffs imposed by him cost the American families an average of $2,000. So it's a sales tax, but granted that. So what he's saying is, hey, I'm going to eliminate the property tax, your income tax, and replace it with a sales tax. And by the way, this is going to help the rich because they don't have to pay income taxes at all. At all. Listen to this. They don't have to pay income taxes at all. But the Joe Blow who buys the products that the rich people bring into this country, they're going to pay the sales tax. And that's what we're going to use. People, don't be that stupid. This man lies to you, but is really lying to you big. The way, what he's trying to do is to say to his rich buddies, hey, by doing this, you're not going to pay taxes. All the taxes are going to be paid by the average Joe, who's going to pay it when via tariffs. And this is the money I'm going to use from here on to pay for all our expenses. Rich people, you do not pay income taxes, which is the only thing they pay. So that is the problem. People don't believe him when he says that the foreign countries pay the tariffs. The foreign countries are afraid because they know that makes their products less desirable. Mm-hmm. And that if the products are too expensive, they might not buy them. It's particularly in a country like the United States, which is considered a consumer country, which buys 40% of the things that they buy is junk.
Yeah.
Or an impulse. We have a saying here in this country, impulse buying. So yes. So there they have a concern. Right now, your beef and your pork is more expensive because of the tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Let's go to the next one, Jimmy.
Yes.
Same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word they just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
Mm.
They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward. So in my first year of the second term, should be my third term, but strange things happen. I took prescription drugs, a very big part of healthcare, from the highest price in the entire world to the lowest. There's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayer. Oh, we have all the information. And in actuality, the number is much higher than that. And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe. So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. As we ensure.
All right, Jimmy, a whole lot to unpack. He talked about affordability. He talked about prescription drug costs, and then he closed out in that clip to talk about fraud and J.D. Vance specifically appointed to address the fraud in California, Minnesota, New York, Illinois, so forth and so on. Your thoughts?
And Florida.
In Florida.
Because there's nobody more corrupt than DeSantis. And that's a fact that's been proven, and he pocketed $10 million. We all know that. Okay, look, let's start from the beginning. He's right. Nobody knows a liar better than him. He's the biggest liar in the world, so he should know a liar. This is the most divisive part of his speech, the most abusive part of his speech, and the biggest, not the biggest lie, but one of the biggest lies of his speech. Here he comes and says that I am here, the United States of America, to admit to you that I lied to you. I, Donald J. Trump, today admit to the U.S. people that I lied to them, that I misled them, and that I was wrong when I said that I could do something that I couldn't do. I promised you that in day one, I will solve the problem of the economy, that day one, I would reduce the prices of food. And day one, I would take care of everything. It's now day 422, and I haven't done shit. Prices are high, and what I'm going to do today, instead of admitting that I cannot deal with this because the President of the United States has no control over prices, no power over prices, I'm going to blame the Democrats for it. And I'm going to say their laws is caused it. I'm not going to say which laws because I can't. And by the way, in a few minutes, I'm going to say one of their laws and try to take credit for it. At the same time, you want to talk about fraud? Look, you're the most corrupt president that we have. You have people putting in bit accounts, money to get you to drop tariffs and to sign pardons and to sign other documents for people, to give them jobs, to give them contracts. You're the most corrupt person of all. And you have screwed the American people out of their money and what they need. But let me end with this. What is your promise to do what? That you're trying your best to reduce prices? That you're trying your best to make the economy better for the affordability? Are you saying that those people who have problems affording to buy food are making up that word? That those people who have problems affording a new house are making up that word? And by the way, MAGAs are having that problem too. Those people who are having problems with their health care are making up that word. And by the way, Mr. President, let me correct you, because David, thank God, does not take too many pills because of his age and his good health, but I do. There's 40 pills, 40 pills that your act covered, of which 32 were what most people would buy for $5 or $10 because they were generic. The other 8 were in certain categories that you were convinced to go that way. Out of 2,089.
Yeah.
Those others are still unaffordable for most Americans. As a matter of fact, you know what's not covered in the drug prescription? Ozempic is not in the other in its competition. They're not. They're reducing prices because one sneezed before the other. But realistically, those are not in there. And those are for diabetic. Insulin, the one who brought it down was Biden. By the way, even though he tries to take credit for it, the one who passed the insulin thing down was Biden. It was another Democrats. So let's stop pretending that you're doing things. And by the way, you're going to be caught now in two lots. I thought it was going to be one, but it's two. Okay. What else do you have?
All right, this next one is a very touchy issue. As a matter of fact, Jimmy, Representative Gant of South Florida made a comment about this particular issue and current legislation that passed the Florida House, I believe, memorializing Charlie Kirk. She said that he was not assassinated, but let's go to the clip.
In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind. My preference is to solve this problem.
Can you stop it here a moment?
Diplomacy.
Yes, I can,
But
bro.
one thing is,
There we go.
Okay. I would ask you later to go to Bill Maher.
Okay.
That same question, that same comment in 2022 was proposed by Biden. And the Republicans did not stand up and applaud. This one, the Democrats stand up and applaud. That is what has this country so screwed up. That in 2022, Biden said those basically the same words. They're not exactly, but the same words, and the Republicans sat. And if you look and you go to Bill Maher's rules, you know, the part
Is right.
it's in there, okay?
Okay.
And it is projected. This is what has this country so screwed up. That same thing this year, both Democrats and Republicans applauded. And by the way, for those of you who do not know Mr. Kirk always agreed that we should talk with respect to each other and disagree. But he was never chastise somebody for not being a Christian, like the president's doing right now. You go back now. Okay.
Okay.
political violence of any kind. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. The golden.
So, Jimmy, your thoughts on that? Iran. He talked very little about Iran, Israel, Ukraine,
and I'm concerned about his people. Whoever wrote the speech must have wrote it in 3 or 4 days prior. And I have to say this because he didn't write it. Let's stop pretending that he did. He was reading for an entire party. There is a thing of the Secretary of Foreign Affairs for Iran that was posted in Instagram 2 days prior, saying that they have no interest in having a nuclear weapon. And for the record, there was an agreement that he broke, which all the people who had inspected Iran said that they were not enhancing anything for to make a nuclear weapon. But, you know, I'm kind of have to make a clarification. I'm not going to defend Iran. Iran is one of the 3 countries that is an exporter of terror. The other one is Russia, and the other one is North Korea. And Russia and North Korea, both of them have nuclear weapons. And by the way, I'm going to say this, Mr. Trump, under your first presidency, you were fooled by the president of North Korea that he wrote you a beautiful, friendly letter while he was producing nuclear weapons. Stop being a hypocrite, Donald. Under your presidency, North Korea develop nuclear weapons. It's a well-known fact, and there still are. And you're doing nothing to stop them. And to tell me that North Korea is not a threat is bullshit.
Oh, it is.
It is.
It is. All right, Jimmy, the president is going to wrap it up right here. Let's see what your thoughts are.
An age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
I'll give the writer credit. That's the way most presidents have ended their State of the Union, by saying that this is a great country and that it's strong and that it's independent, and some use the terms that the envy of the world and all those other terms that writers will put in. He read that, and I'm not surprised, and it's true, and I agree with that statement. So I am not going to say much about that. Now, let me then address other things about it. Let me start by the biggest lie that he said. And this is why I say he's divisive, why I say he has a problem, and why I say we need to do something about it.
Okay, let's hear it. You have the stage, Jimmy.
I'm going to say shame on you, Donald Trump, for using a person to accumulate cheap points, which were a lie. And mother of the daughter who died, you need to really go to the press and talk a little bit. He framed that the death of Irma Secreta, who was killed in a bus in Charlotte, North Carolina, and slash was done by an illegal immigrant who had criminal charges pending, and that he was let go by a liberal Democratic judge out, even though he was a career criminal. The person who killed that young lady's name was Brown Jr., a U.S. citizen, an African American citizen, who has had dreadlocks, who has been charged with that crime, and according to everybody who witnessed the crime, was the person who perpetrated. That is an American. That is not an illegal alien. It is not done by an illegal person. And when he said, "What's wrong with you, Charlotte, that you're letting illegal immigrants commit crimes in your city?" that was a lie. Now, there's two things that could have happened here. One, the person who wrote the speech for the president is that stupid, then should be fired. Or that he went off script, which would not surprise me, because the racist that he is so bad it's not even funny. This person who was charged with this crime is a black person born in North Carolina, whose parents were born in the United States also, who never has been to any other country but the United States. As a matter of fact, from the record that we have of Mr. Brown, he's never left this country. He's never been to any other country. He was born and raised in Charlotte. Look, to use this tragic death of a young lady in this country by somebody who had a record. He did. Look, I'm going to be more honest than most of you. He had a record. Why did the judge leave him out on bond? Well, let me explain to you the realities that you people do not understand. Jails are overcrowded because of other people that are there who really have not committed a crime and who are not planned in the numbers of people that are normally arrested. So basically, these people are let go. But at the same time, it costs you taxpayers to keep these people. The crime he was charged with, that it was pending for trial, was one that justified an average white person would have been done the same thing. So he was let go. But Mr. President, you have no shame that you would use in the State of the Union to say that an illegal immigrant with last name Brown, born in Charlotte, North Carolina, and from North Carolina, was an illegal immigrant who killed this young lady. She was killed by a Black American. She was killed by a person who was an American who had a criminal record, who, in some people's opinion, should have been in jail. I can respect that. But it is false, and it's a lie that the person who killed her was an illegal alien.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Jimmy, because nowhere in the mainstream media that I follow that I saw any clarification of that particular part of the president's speech. And was it done intentionally? He said it. It's out there. There was no retraction and no fact check that I'm aware of in regards to that. You are 100% correct.
Well, there's no retraction, and I don't think I think it was intentional. To be quite honest, I do. And I have a problem with the mother crying there and not going to the person and say, hey, wait a minute. I need to clarify something here. The guy who killed my daughter was a Black guy from North Carolina, was not an illegal alien. And I don't think it's fair to just characterize it as that because he wasn't. You know,
a Black guy with an extensive criminal record.
Yes, really. He did. I'm not going to say that he wasn't. But he was a U.S. citizen. He was not an illegal alien.
That's correct.
And, you know, and the problem is that everybody was, oh, look, another illegal killing somebody. No. You know, the other thing that I creates a problem with me is this. That room was full of Epstein's victims. And like his attorney general and his campaign manager, Pan Bundy, they have never acknowledged anything. They have never apologized for anything. And, you know, he acknowledged heroes. He acknowledged people who are victims of crime, which was this young lady was a victim of a crime. And so was every one of the 52 victims of Epstein who were in that hole. They were victims of a crime. Let's not stop pretending that they weren't. They were. Not once did he acknowledge it. Not once did he try to say anything. And by the way, those young ladies were violated mostly by white men. There's not even one Hispanic immigrant illegally who is alleged to have touched him. But he couldn't go there and couldn't do anything different. Last but not least, Donald Trump made the most divisive by attacking the other party. I have a question for you, MAGA people. If Obama, Brandon, like you like to call him, because if I say Biden, you might not know who I'm talking about, because you were very disrespectful to him, were to say the things that he said to the Democrats, he said to the Republicans, how you would be offended. For those of you who expected this speech to transcend and convince Democrats to vote for Trump, you're smoking cheap weed. And for those of you who thought that this would convince independents to come over, you're still smoking cheap weed. My grandfather told me these words, and I think they're appropriate today. Respect is not earned, is not given, it's earned. The way that Donald Trump behaved this Tuesday night was not presidential, was not in a correct way, and basically so many lies came out of his mouth that it is not funny. Some of them were on purpose. I cannot believe that he did not know that the person, Carlos, unless he thought that Carlos was Hispanic because of his first name. But if you watch his photo, no, he's not. He was born and raised in North Carolina, and so was his parents, an illegal alien here. And to put the blame on that everything that's going wrong in this country is to blame the Hispanic community is wrong. So at this point, I would characterize his speech as a divisive, childish, abusive, and the biggest lies ever perpetrated. Simply that the foreign governments pay for the terrorists. We know that's a lie. Even the Cato Institute tells you who pays. And if you want to claim that the Cato Institute is a Democratic institute, whoopee, you're going to have a hard time convincing anybody about that. At the same time, he basically lied as to this one. He talked about a retirement plan, that he put money in everybody's pockets. That for those of you who do not have a 401k plan, that plan would allow you to put $1,000 aside, and the government would participate with up to $1,000 a year to help you to subsidize your Social Security money. It is a great plan. What he failed to tell you is that plan that is he put TrumpRetirement.com. When you hit it, it takes you to the government site. And the government site will tell you that plan was passed with bipartisan support and was signed into law in 2022. Do you know the president of the United States was in 2022? Joe Biden. He's taking credit for what Joe Biden passed legislation. The one for the children, well, the children one is kind of a more interesting one because it's kind of skating. In order to get those $1,000, you have to give a lot of information about your kids that I have a concern that will be sold in the market for analytical purposes. You have to keep updating so you can keep getting the money because it's not coming from the government directly. It's coming from the private industry. And it is kind of a shady way to get the information. If you move, you have to notify them. You have to notify what school they're going to. And this is more or less information that they're gathering in this days of computers to sell it. So it's what we call the cost of acquisition of information to be sold. But he's taking credit for that. But at least he was honest enough to tell you that it was a $6.2 billion donation from a private company. These are the lies that came up during his speech. There's no $18 trillion of committed money. Even his website in the White House says 9.7. And even those economists question that high. And commitments is a promise. It is not a fact. So, with that in mind, let's go to the fuck-ups of the week.
All right, Jimmy.
Let me start with the Democrats.
All right.
When it's not going to be the one that most of you think. You didn't want to attend to the State of the Union. Donald Trump gave you a reason. He insulted you openly. And if I was Jeffries, I would say, hey, people, let's stand up and walk out. We have a duty to listen, but we don't have a duty to be insulted.
Okay.
And that would have been extremely effective. That's where you fucked up. You should have said, yeah, you can insult me. You're going to call me weak. You're going to call me this. You're going to call me that. Look, I'm out of here. I don't have to take your abuse. And everybody said, yeah, you're right. You don't have to take their abuse. Yeah, you're justifying leaving. Okay?
Yeah.
But that is your fuck up. You lack of leadership and say, hey, thank you for putting a silver platter. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
He could have left with that point. And by that point, they would not be able to find enough people to fill up those seats. Plus, they have to be invited and have an invitation to go on the floor. So
that's right.
It would have shown an empty floor because he insulted. That is your fuck up. Republicans. Okay. You're about to be going to serious problems. You enforced you enforced Bill Clinton for a subpoena about Epstein. You did it with Hillary, which is kind of interesting because I think 2 pictures of Hillary with Epstein, and they really didn't have that much contact. Yes, he donated to her campaign, but for the record, he also donated to Donald Trump's. So that's beside the point, because he always played at both sides. And you forced them to say, hey, I don't care you're a past president. Because you were with Epstein, we're going to question you. Well, right. Guess what? By the end of the year, the Democrats are going to control that House. Can they subpoena Donald Trump? You didn't think that one through, did you? Are there pictures of Donald Trump with Epstein? Oh, yeah. Did he get donations from Epstein? Oh, yeah. Is there a young lady right now saying that he abused her? Well, she's no longer a young lady. That he and Epstein abused her? Oh, the term of a statute of limitation is prescribed. And so would everything that Bill Clinton might have done is also expired. But you're subpoenaing him, okay? Opening the door for them to do the same to him. But at the same time, all those files of that young lady have not been submitted in the Epstein files. It's a known fact. He didn't do anything wrong. The White House says that he's been exonerated by who? I don't know any jury who exonerated him. I don't know any judge who heard the evidence exonerated him. And if you could tell me Pam Bondi, with all due respect, she's about to be going to jail herself for contempt. And she's being investigated for corruption. So let's not take that. And for the record, to allow this Department of Justice to put a major photo of him outside of the Department of Justice with the claim that he's the best president of all times, that is as big as a fuck up as you could do. And by the way, Lincoln's going to come back and hunt you. Because don't get me started. As a matter of fact, even Jefferson was better. The only one who is in his category is Jackson, but that's a discussion for another day. So with that in mind, subscribe. I got one of your comments, which I didn't get time to answer, but maybe next time I will answer it.
Yes, we will.
And by the way, I don't like fruit. And another one. If you come with Cheerios, I'll grant you that. And subscribe, like, dislike, comment, and for the record, we're here. I will answer your comments. So with that, I will see you next week. Take care.
Take care, Jimmy. Thank you so much. We'll see you the next time.
See you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.